Saga, it's the mutant Mr. Get Down. Live wire, words poke you like barbed wire. Maroon rain, sugar cane, oil stains. My right leg longer than my left foot. Put stripes next to squares, still get a circle. See spirits off in people, I don't see color. I'm a special mind, yeah, a special kind. Conceived in the South at a special time. Covered in leaves of gold, scripture written in scroll. Spoken so clearly in tongues, so my children would come. Look around, can't you see the industry? It look like me. I don't wear the clothes you wear. I'm just different and I don't care. It's kind of sad and it's a shame. Everyone wants to be the same. If you are listening here and now, I'm sure I can show you how. It's okay to be afraid. Don't you wanna be special? I'm so special, boy. Title one stupid dog. I eat nuclear waste and spit it. Plutonium explodes as my trademark. Mushroom clouds inside caught in brain form. Gamma rays charge my system, now we going green. In my veins, KG13, a microphone beam. Arsenic juggernaut, extraterrestrial being. Reign supreme, once conceived, boy, they the mold. All this glory seeking is getting totally out of control. No one's original, intact of the clone. Invasion of the swagger snatchers, aim for the dome. I don't wear the clothes you wear.
Oh, man, I'm just watching.
I don't care. It's kind of sad and it's a shame. Everyone wants to be the same. If you are listening here and now, I'm sure I can show you how. It's okay to be afraid. Don't you wanna be special? Scientists stood out in silence as I was being born. Was I quote unquote special or was there something wrong? My skin was black, my heart was gold, and my tongue was silver. And the fact that I could talk already, that was a and I feel that I don't understand, so let me warn you. Especially when niggas make too much noise about being normal. Unusual but beautiful, the bond and blessing. Sumo cum laude, school of exceptional youth. X-Men. Let me put something poetic into plain English. I'd rather die than to not be distinguished. The outsiders have no desires to be equal. When VIP stands for very insecure people. I don't wear the clothes you wear. I'm just different and I don't care. It's kind of sad and it's a shame. Everyone wants to be the same. If you are listening here and now, I'm sure I can show you how. It's okay to be afraid. Don't you wanna be special? SPECIAL. Heavyweight in the game, T-tip the scale. I travel over the world back to ATL. I'm friends with the man, I'm a truth sayer. A crusader, a natural orator. I need a DJ to be the illustrator. Let's get it dollar signs. I said my Gucci rhymes. I think it's tea time. Don't need a cosign. Timo is on the grind. I'm about to let it shine. Up in the skyline. Don't worry about mine. I can handle lies. And watching third eyes. I make them go blind. I don't just rap the rhyme. I don't wear the clothes you wear. I'm just different and I don't care. It's kind of sad and it's a shame. Everyone wants to be the same. If you are listening here and now, I'm sure I can show you how. It's okay to be afraid. Don't you wanna be special?
All right, family, friends, distinguished guests, welcome. Well, let me tell you this: we back, we black. You know, it's a fact. It's been a while since I did a podcast such as this, but welcome anyhow to Grasshoppa Speaks, building with the master teachers. Today it is what, October 27, 2022, according to the Gregorian or Western calendar, and that's in correspondence with the Kemetic or ancient Egyptian calendar, which is 6,263. I like to refer to it as 6263 Small Tawi. Family, friends, distinguished guests, welcome to the 7th millennium. Once again, it is I, Grasshoppa the Griot. I also go by Minister Priyanki Amin Ra, and I also use my government name from time to time, William Marshall Dow II. Why is that? Because I'm named after my illustrious and wonderful grandfather, William Marshall Dow I. May he rest in the eternal everlasting spirit. And today, family, we have a wonderful program for you today. I'm very happy and excited about this program because person that I'm about to interview and build with is very near and dear to me. I'm a Jegna of mine, a teacher of mine, a Baba of mine, a brother of mine, a comrade of mine. And this individual right here, without question, has an uncompromising, unapologetical love for his people. Make no mistake about it. This guy has traveled to the continent. He studied under the honorable ancestor, Dr. Josephine Yakinen. He's been to Kemet. He's a businessman, a father, a husband. I mean, just a wonderful individual. Let me tell you something right here. The youth may be 65% of our population, but they are 100% of the future. And with individuals, teachers, jegnas, like this individual that I'm about to introduce before you today, when we have a teacher like this, the future is looking very, very bright, because once again, he not only teach the youth through his verbalage, but he also instill love, compassion, and undeniable respect with his application. He truly loves the people, and it's an honor for me to have, for the first time here on Grasshoppa Speaks, Building with a Master Teacher. He is a master teacher, master student. He's just a master when it comes to character. Family, friends, distinguished guests, welcome to the program. My Baba, Brother Kemet, Madu, Natur. How you feeling, fam?
Hotel family, hotel beloved.
You looking good, brother. You looking real good, Brother Kim. You looking strong, man.
Feeling blacknificent.
Looking real strong, man. I know we ain't chopped it up in a while, but I mean, you look like you just about what?
It's been a minute. It's been a minute, but don't nothing change.
Yeah, man. I like the piece in the back, man. I'm just happy you're a part of this program, man. And once again, get in regards to your wife and your son. Definitely, they're definitely a part of the tribe and the family as well. And once again, I'm happy you're here of being a part of this interview. I know we're gonna have a wonderful dialogue today, my brother. What you think about that?
Always.
Indeed.
It's
Say it again, brother.
No, go. We get into it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Whenever I come on the program for the first time, I know you, you know what I mean, but some of our guests and the people who's going to be catching the recording later on, they may not know you. So tell us your story. Who is Brother Kemet the Great?
I'm a child advocate through the core. My whole thing is helping them go from a dead mind to standing perpendicular. As you know some of my judges, you know Professor Grant, you know Dr. Ben,
Yes.
you know my people. And it's funny, I was thinking earlier, I've took probably 100, 150 kids to sit with the elders. And actually, one of those kids I took to sit with the elders, I'm talking to right now. Professor Earl Grant, Malcolm X main man. And the beautiful thing about that relationship, and it's even on days when he didn't feel that good, never did he refuse me, ever. Not one time. No matter how he felt, no matter what he was going through physically, he was always accessible to me. And his message to me was, always stay accessible to you. And when I took him to the brother, I mean, if I took him as seeds, they came back as blossoms. Wow. If I took him as blossoms, they came back bearing fruit, because he understands the significance and importance of taking them from a dead mind and standing perpendicular. And that's why we're here. You know me, I've been doing this for 40 years. 40 years. I don't work with the gang structure, primarily with our youth. It's my cause, it's my purpose, it's my life. I took an oath and according to this, and it'll probably be my last deed on this side of the plane.
Wow. And you said some wonderful pearls. I want to talk about Professor Grant too, but let's talk about him right now. You know, Professor Grant, for those who may not know, he was Malcolm X's right-hand man. I'm a wonderful individual, and like you said, you introduced me to the late great Professor Grant, Earl Grant. What was it like? Because I know you had a strong connection with him as it relates to your relationship with him. What was it like just being able to sit at the feet of the great Earl Grant?
It's one of the most beautiful and profound relationships I've ever had in my life. I mean, we all love Malcolm and what Malcolm represented and what Malcolm stood for, but I love the man, Earl 5X Grant. He was the 5th Earl in the nation, and this brother was so profound on so many levels. His understanding was, the beautiful thing about this brother was this is what he understood. Let's take him and Malcolm just for a brief minute, and we can get into the children.
Yes, sir.
The thing is about this brother, they had a vision. They had a vision for the youth. They had a vision for us. And Malcolm's thing was, I'm gonna push this thing as far as I can, and the next generation will take over. But Professor Grant wanted him to understand a few things about that journey. First off, there's people that pay a heavy cost for them.
Yes.
And sometimes we get so caught up and they don't acknowledge that, which is unfortunate because Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Dr. Bailey, they sacrificed their life to teach us. You know how the structure go down. If you profound like that, you could just sell out for money.
True.
But this is what the elder helped me understand. See, if you got love for money, you can be bought. If you fear death, you could be scared off. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
So the reality is we're going to get into it, and I'll share some of the things that he shared with me as we go on this journey. And today I'm here to talk about our youth. I'm here to give tongue to their wounds and the situation that they're dealing with on a daily basis that sometimes some of us are oblivious to.
That's deep.
And the reality is this right here. I mean, you just tell me where you want to start and we'll go there, family.
Oh, no, we got the flow. Don't even worry about that. We here. We got great chemistry. Speaking of that, let's get into that right now. I want to know, because you said that you've been working with the youth for over 40 years, over 4 decades. That's a lot of experience and time put in with really instilling in our youth. I want to know what gave you the yearning desire? What gave you the ambition to want to start working with you? What was it that made you want to start working with you?
I started out as a coach, with 5, 6-year-olds. And it's funny, those same 5 or 6 years old are still with me to this day.
Yeah.
They've been playing together for the last 35 years, consistently.
Yes.
They're a family. And you know me, man. I'm here to be honest. I really don't care about sports. I really don't care about any of that. I care about them. So let me explain the journey. It's funny, when they were small, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, everybody came out, the family came out, aunts, cousins, they supported them. Bleachers are full. When they get 13, they're coming down the street by themselves, just to please the basketball, the baseball, or whatever. 15, it's just me and them. It's just me and them. And the question becomes, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, where do they go? Who do they go to for help? So during this journey, I seen a void. Because what happens is, like I say, at 15, it's just me and them. So to be perfectly frank, we've came up short. We let them down. And I hear people say nonsense about, that thing about blaming them, which is, to me, is absurd. That's the same thing as the root blaming the branch for the fruit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's absurd. And because we've developed that type of relationship and we let people conquer our we, that place that distance between the most valuable assets that we have on this planet Earth, which is our youth. The youth is a pride of any nation. Only thing that trumps the youth is the woman, the most valuable jewel in that crown. And we can get into mother later. So the reality is, by the relationships I have with them, they're honest to me about what they're dealing with. Let's start at school. Today, when we send our children to school, it's almost like sending them to Alcatraz.
Dang.
We don't understand. It's not like our day. When these kids go to school, we're sending them to predators. Day one, they're being bullied on a level that most of us don't understand. And you wonder why this kid's sink into such darkness till they want to harm themselves. And it's become the new normal. And listen to this. They don't go home and tell the parents. Now, this is what I mean about Alcatraz. They don't go home and tell the parents. Now I'm in a situation they can't snitch because of the no snitching culture. So now there's no one I can go to for relief. I can't go tell anybody because now I'm labeled a snitch. And it's that they can't tell their parents. Guess why they don't tell their parents? We're going to be honest today.
Yes, sir.
I mean, when they sizing up the situation with the bully, the Jenkins boys, you ain't there, parents ain't there. So they had to make some choices. If I go home and I engage my parents about this situation and I bring them into it, guess what? I'm putting them in harm now. Because the Jenkins boys is a whole yard full of drinkers and killers. And we got the Jenkins boys in every community. So I know kids, they can't even go to school without their lunch money. Because if they don't have that lunch money, they're going to get beat down. Remember, they're not going to come home and tell you. They're not going to tell the teacher. So they internalize this. And at a certain point, you know what it is. It's like a raisin in the sun. It swells, but at a certain point, it's going to bust open.
Yeah, real talk.
Or they're going to harm themselves. So this is why they ride that middle minefield between suicide and madness. Can you imagine a kid being in this kind of pain? It's like drowning, but you don't die. You just suffer.
Dang.
You just suffer. And this is day in and day out. You just suffer. And where's relief? If it's not going to come from us, where's it going to come from? Who is it going to come from? Well, we sold them out. And I'm just being honest. Everybody say like, Brother Kemet, like, what do you say to him? I'm sorry. I apologize because we let you down. We let you get boggled down in fear and emotions. And where were we? All they ever needed was us, just us. Trust me, they might buck you when you come to them. But the reality is this. Before we can start making these connections, any kind of corrections, we have to make a connection.
True.
You and your wife, you know how dear you guys are to me. But I guarantee you, you didn't see Kashana across the room and walk over there and say, hey, come go with me. We finna be married and we finna build a life. No. You had to develop a relationship. It was courtship. It was getting to know me. I'm getting to know you. So that's the structure I use sports. Because remember, I don't give a damn about sports.
True.
But I care about them.
Yeah.
And we have to be where they're at. And unfortunately, where they're at is on the court, on the field, and in the music, the booth.
Yeah.
Because they all want to be aspiring rappers because they don't understand those pitfalls. So I'm here to be honest about it. So, example, I've known coaches, me and my son, we went to watch the take a group of kids that did nobody else want, but I wanted them. So we wanted them. Second day after I'm there, I see this coach telling this kid, well, basically, run 10 more laps, run 20 more laps. But he never stopped to say, when was the last time you ate? You got this kid running till he pass out because he knows what's outside and it's not pretty. And you giving him the choice, do what I say, but like I say, you don't know this kid. In 72 hours, I knew every kid on the team, what their living condition was, who was couch surfing, who had parents, who didn't have parents, who ate, who didn't eat. Because remember, it's not about sports, it's about them. It's about giving them an opportunity. They asked me the other day, somebody said, Brother Kemet, what you give your son for his birthday? A lifetime of being around honorable men. Because principles are permanent. And when we get in a position where we can affect their life, because remember, all they ever needed was us. We talked a little about once we sent them out our door and sent them into the schools, some of the perils that they fall under, which is insane. And even on the good days with the teacher, this is important.
Mm-hmm.
There's no learning going on. Here's the teacher with the authority of a teacher describing a world to our kids, and they not even in it. It destroys the equilibrium. And remember, the teacher has veto right for punishment. So everybody say, well, you know, our kids are so indoctrinated, and so was you. I'm sitting here, you're giving me a whole list of facts that has nothing to do with me or my culture or my kind. And it's coming in such a repetition. And the only way I advance from here is to accept that. Mm-hmm. But the flip side of that is now I have African blood for European sentiments.
Okay.
And we're gonna blame them. Remember, all they ever needed was us, my brother, Tahuti. He's a special ed teacher. Now, if you teach in America, you're a special ed teacher. It's funny. The situation we in right now, and with the CRT. Somebody said, well, Brother Kemet, what do you think about that? Well, for me, it's simple. I understand. Let's look at their argument. They say, well, you know, we don't want to divide America as if we ever been together. We don't want to divide America. Mm-hmm. We don't want to open up that can of worms. What can of worms? This is the can of worms we don't want to open up. Grandma, ain't that you right there spitting on little Ruby Bridges while she's trying to go to school? Grandpa, why are you standing next to that black man hanging from that tree and you smiling? But tear down one of them Confederate monuments and see what kind of heat you get. And that's on us. That's on us. We serve our kids up to Hollywood and Fake Town and these culture makers and hair shrinkers over at Wall Street. And the damage is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Listen to this. If you go to a studio and you say, I got 100 songs about killing dogs, bruising babies. Nah, we can't mess with that. Okay. I got 100 songs about killing black men and glorifying drug dealers. Would you play that song? Well, maybe. Till you cross the line, let's take Rick Ross. You know, they always carve out a little section for Sambo to be successful so they can dangle it in front of our kids. But even Rick Ross, one line, here's a whole song glorifying drug dealing and killing black men, no problem. One line about date rape, 100,000 petitions in 24 hours. They was down there telling Reebok, this is unacceptable. And they fired him on the spot. Dang. Why we ain't got 100,000 at the schools? Is the question. Yeah. Fired him on the spot. Now let me say that again. You can make that song about glorifying drugs and killing black males. That's acceptable. That's scary, fam. Because we know for a fact, We know for a fact. We ain't got to do no studies. Studies are for things you're trying to learn about. We lived it.
Yeah, we already know it.
We know for a fact that those lyrics makes felons.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a youth last week. So one of my brothers called me, the young brother, he's been with me a long time. Here's a brother that was triple OG. If you met him now, you think he's the most humble, meek, loving, compassionate person you ever met. They've been shot 7 times. 7 times. So he called me. He said, yeah, Brother Kemet, I had one of the OGs. He just got out of jail. And I'm trying to help him get straight. I want him to benefit from some of what you gave me. But he don't want to listen. And his PO tell him if you don't have a job in a week or 2, he got to go back in. And he said the job is beneath him and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? So he said, can you talk to him? Of course. That's who I am. So I engaged a young brother and I said, a job was offered you how much? He said, oh, $15 an hour, you know, that's beneath me. I said, is that right? So I said, how many minutes? He said, what do you mean, OG? How many minutes did it take you to commit that crime that you did 15 years for? He said, 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 15 years. I said, you know, and I know for a fact. You met some brothers inside that you knew from the outside that was balling out here. Big time. Big time. Big brains with no balls. Listen to this. So he says, well, the job's kind of beneath me. I can't come up with that job. So yeah. I said, didn't you just tell me that some of the brothers from the streets you met when you was inside? He said, yeah, OG. I said, check this out, family. Let's be honest. These same brothers would die to work in the kitchen to be able to get a little bit of sugar to sell on the side and clean up tables that was balling outside for 60 cents a day. I never thought about it like that, OG. I never thought about it like that. So sometimes we just have to be honest with them. And they know I'll be that. I don't lie to them. A king, one of your jugglers, my brother, he called me, he said, Brother Kemet, got a kid on the line. He want to go commit suicide by cop, right? So I took the phone. I said, young brother, I said, before you do this, I don't say not to do it. I don't do that. I said, before you do this for me. I'm gonna take you to some young brothers and you can share your pain with them before you check out. In that structure, he found redemption in himself. Because everybody has value and worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone. Yeah. And now it's his life's calling. Because he know what it's like. He felt what it's like. He's been that child. And the sad part about it is, we say nonsense like, well, you know, are they worthy of it? You ain't even worthy of being a human being to me. Did they deserve it? Now you scapegoat them. Because like I say, that's like the root telling the branch about his fruit. We could talk about this culture all we want, but we raised them and we abandoned them. We got almost 30,000 kids in a system. Kashana can speak to this. It's easier for a stranger to get your kid than the family. Your wife said to me one day, and I've heard this from 100 kids, I got 100 people in my family. How did I end up here? How did I end up here? Because we lost our African way, when we lost our African mind. You ain't got to take an African name but you got to keep an African brain. So the reality is, we never, ever, my brother's son is my son.
Mm-hmm.
My sister's daughter is my daughter. After the fish nets and they conquered our way, and our children suffer for it. We've abandoned them. We turned them over to this culture, and we better get them back.
Hey,
we better get them back.
Hey, let me interject. You coming with it, man. I say, man. Hey, family, I see we got a heavyweight on. A person that's very compassionate and very passionate about what he's teaching about, man. You broke down so many different things. I want to ask you something, because you said something that really pricked my level of consciousness, and that is, how some of the generation, I guess, X, or the separation between the elders and some of the youth, in particular the Black community, how some of the elders or the older folks be like, all this youth, they don't want to listen, or they just have a lot of resistance towards what the elders or the OGs are trying to instill in them, and you see some type of blockage, some type of separation there. What methodologies you use? Because I'm not saying
I'm glad you said that, my brother. See, what we have to understand is this. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between being an elder and an older. We got a lot of old fools. It's a difference. Mm-hmm. Because what we have to understand is, like I say, they're gonna bucket when you first come to them because they don't trust you. Mm-hmm. I can respect that. I can respect that, because in their mind, you ain't gonna be around anyway. You're gonna be like everybody else. You're gonna kick me to the curb. You're not gonna be in it for the long run. You're not gonna be there when I need you. And most of the time, they're absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. I just said we got 30,000 kids in the system, which is nuts. I know people with 3 or 4 bedrooms and in there by themselves. And then they say dumb stuff like, oh, well, they bad. My kids was bad. Your kids was bad. Kids are bad. It's what they do. So we can give them structure and honor and principles. That's a part of the ride. But that's an excuse, because I don't want to make this investment in this child. And the thing is, it ain't a DNA thing. It's a love thing. You don't got to be no parent to parent. Mm-hmm. You just got to care. Mm-hmm. You just got to care. But we lost that passion for compassion. We got it for each other. Your brother said to me all the time, well, he ain't up to my par. If he's breathing, he's up to par. And I love it. Mm-hmm. So where are they going to get these type of principles that they don't get it from us? Mm-hmm. Because we've abandoned them and we've left that door open, you see who entered. Listen to this. It's a reason we don't have teen posts no more, community centers no more, and this is why. Most of the Black Panthers came from the teen post. See the programs. So watch how clever this is. Now that I removed those programs, so I got these kids running the streets, and they easy prey for gangs, which are no longer gangs. Let me explain the gang culture to you, because a lot of people get this misunderstood and they're confused about this. Mm-hmm. They say, well, want the police, or want they just stop gangbanging? It's too late. You got 8,000 or 9,000 police, half of them get ready to retire, 5 or 6 roaming the street, and it's 170,000 gang members. Do the math. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you right now, every OG in his pocket got the phone number to the mayor and the governor. Hey. Because they need them. Hey, hold it down. Now, guess what? That structure crumbled because the youngsters don't care about the hierarchy in gang life, because there's not gangbangers anymore. This is what we're dealing with now. The gangs are army of drug dealers for the cartels. We got people sitting up in jail in the Mexican mafia. We got people sitting up in cartels saying, yeah, okay, you know, he got 10,000 in this group. He's the leader. We're gonna put this bag in his hand. Big balls, but no brains. So now when you hear, well, wait a minute, there's more Crips killing Crips and more Bloods killing Bloods, because it's about drug dealing. So once they wiped out the Vanguard movement, flooded the community with drugs, which we haven't overcame yet, and they didn't care until Oxycontin and Vicodin came and it went over to the west side and got to the valley. Now all of a sudden, it's an epidemic. We've been living under epidemics since 1492. When you talk about epidemic.
Yes.
So now they're not gangbangers, they're drug dealers. So I'm not burying kids now because of gangs. I'm burying kids because of drugs. You'll go through a neighborhood, it looks so depressing to you, and to a drug dealer, man, that trap house in that block is worth $100,000 a week to me. Now listen what I'm finna say. You think I'm gonna drop $1 million worth of drugs off to you and I'm not gonna give you a way to protect it? So you got vans being dropped off in the communities full of guns the police ain't even seen. And these ain't used guns from no gun show. This the latest. Remember, police don't bother them. They got something go straight through the flak jacket, straight through the police, straight through the car. And they know that. They know that. So this is like a virus that they don't let get out of control. Now it's too late. So now it's one of those things that we got to live in conjunction with if you try to run a city, because they know something as Black people we better learn. We 4 billion people across the planet. If we stomped our left feet at the same time, the world will wobble.
Okay.
We've had not just Dr. Claude, Dr. Anna, we've had everybody tell us what the remedy is for our situation. But because we're Crips and Bloods, and we're Christians and Muslims, we Israelites and Moors, we forget we Africans. We forget we African first, from an African mother first. So now we caught up in the situation, and the strange thing is this right here. Let's start where the creator started. Let's start with the women. Let's start with mother. Let's start with mother. Even the king's throne is called my mother's lap. We've not only let this culture disrespect our children, they've reduced our mothers to something less than everything. That everything, because once she know her power, she's the kid's first teacher. It's like me and my relationship with the youth. You know who my allies are? Mother. You know who I go to? Mothers. I've tried to engage brothers and bring, but you know, they too busy. I got to make a living. So do I. But it'll never change my commitment to our youth. I've buried babies that don't even come up to your knee. I've escorted mothers to the morgue to pull a kid out of a drawer. Dang. And they never get over it. Never. They have to survive for the surviving siblings. I know mothers that kids ride their bikes in a circle around the coffee table because they can't go out into the killing fields, because we don't allow some of these communities to turn to the gates to the cemetery. They dealing with all of this stress.
Mhm.
And we just like go to school, get indoctrinated, and do well. That's a fool's proposition.
Man.
Because we know for a fact, like I say, a study is when you want to know something.
Mhm.
We already know we're the best teachers our children ever had.
Wow.
Period.
It's deep.
Nothing even comes close.
Dang.
Because the difference is this.
Uh-huh.
When we're teaching, we can say, look, distraction is not acceptable. Failure is not acceptable because there's too many people that love you.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the missing link. And the reality is, they've conquered our oneness. We can't even be rational enough to understand. I said that the last time we were successful with getting our way, it was the Montgomery bus boycott. My aunt was a part of that. Watch this. Years later, after my uncle died, she came to live with us, right? So she got this little box. It's got a gold bone in it. Man, she cherished this box, fam. I thought the box had gold bars. I thought, know what was in the box? 6.5 little brown shoes with holes in the bottom that she walked for 244 of those days. And they riding by her in air-conditioned cars and buses, like open the door, like, you know you want to get in here and get some of that air.
Dang.
You know you hot. You know you tired. You know your feet hurt. But had the conviction to keep walking. Keep walking. Professor Grant, I asked him one time, I said, what's your most prized thing you have right now? He pulls out his old AAU card signed by Malcolm X. Membership. Listen to this. Now, I don't like to talk about the problems and we ain't gonna talk about the solutions. Let's talk about the solution. Let's talk about our kids and what we can do now. Watch this. Being lucky enough to be around some of the best organizers in the world, Casa Rex, Earl Grant, and a host of other brothers. That wasn't talkers, you know, this is where we separate the walkers from the talkers. So now, listen to what I'm finna say to you. I spoke on how critical teen post and community centers are. Listen to this. If 1,000 people gave $10 a month, that's $120,000 a year to buy the center. We don't want no nonprofit because we don't want no daddy and no mama. We grown. Because if somebody give you something, they can take it back. It's not yours. Now, some people will say, 1,000 people. Let's be realistic. Show you how the Black Panthers formulated. 10, 10, 10s. Okay, we got 10. Then once you get 10, then you break off and you go get 10. You break off, then you go get 10. And everybody said, well, when we start next door, get on your computer, call to your closest friends and say, look, I don't care if you're an Israelite, a Muslim, a Christian, help us save our children. Help us save our children. It's funny. Somebody died or some tragedy befalls them. We can go fund tragedy. Why don't we pro-fund hope?
You're teaching.
Now we got this structure. Within this structure, between the hours of 3 to 6, kids can go and be safe. Between 6 and 11 during the killing time, kids can go and be safe. Because we could talk to them till we blue in the face. But if I'm gonna send you right back into the madness with no other options, it's insanity.
Yeah.
1,000 people, that's nothing. If 500 give 20, that's not the point. The point is, we don't love our children enough to be relentless. You know me, Grasshoppa. Everybody I talk to, hey, you want to be an agent of hope? So what we have to do, we have to build a structure and an organization. Listen to this. Mm-hmm. This card right here provides hope. You ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to do no work. And you can make a difference. And we ain't begging, because you have to drag the dog to the honey, he ain't no good. They have to understand this is an honor and a privilege to affect the youth that's coming next. We have to prepare them for the next season. And if we don't, you might well give them the Rick Ross. You might well give them to the head shrinkers. And the thing about it, even adults, I can guarantee you, Tyler Perry can make a movie right now, and you'll go sit in the theater and be crying crocodile tears. And you know you're going to see that fool in another movie. And we can't get motivated to save our children. Sometimes I think the blood of our ancestors has ran from our veins. So the reality is, it's not rocket science, it's love. It's love. And putting commitment behind that love.
Dang.
We could change the game. We can change the game and show you why that matters. If they do it, it's not us. Because no one has the ability, it's like the mothers, my strongest allies. You know why? Because every human being on the planet, they have a vested interest in. If you show me somebody that don't have no neighbor from their mother, they're a test tube baby. Mother's everything. And once she's empowered in that way, nothing. Can you imagine 1,000,000 Harriets? I'd rather take one Harriet than 1,000 men. So I hear you back there, Kasana. I love you. Talk to your uncle. Talk to your uncle.
Hey, why would you take 1,000? Let's expound on that for a moment. Why would you take one Harriet over 1,000 men?
Because unfortunately, I don't have time for a bunch of talk. Come on now. This is urgent. This situation needs to be addressed. Our kids are dying out here. They're being bullied to the tunes of thousands. And unfortunately, sometimes, you know, brothers come with a different type of agenda. Like, I'll do this for you if you do this for me. You see what I'm saying? But the reality is, you know, let's get back to some traditions. This is why we say we don't just want every inch of land back, we want every mind back.
Yeah, got you.
You know what I'm saying, fam?
Oh yeah.
That part. So let's get into it.
That's deep. That's mine. Hey man, I like to let you go on and do your thing, man. You really are touching me, and you really getting some good words and food for thoughts. Family, friends, distinguished guests, once again, thank you for joining Grasshoppa Speaks Builder the Master Teachers. We're gonna have a point in the program where you're gonna be able to ask questions or comments to Brother Kemet, but right now he's on the road. And also, family, if you want to donate to this podcast, you can definitely do that. I put the link in the chat box. My PayPal, $Pianki, Pianky. That's my Cash App. Or you can go through my wife's Cash App, which is $Koshana, Koshana. And then we got Koshana K Jones 32. That's the PayPal, and then I got Zelle up there as well. So look at the chat box, and you got other outlets you can use to send donations. But yeah, we're definitely going to allow you guys to get in on conversation because it's about the youth. As I mentioned in my earlier statement, the youth is 65% of the population, but they're 100% of the future. And Brother Kemet is giving us the beautiful food and jewels we definitely need. Hey, I want to talk about the bullying for a moment, Baba. The
Yes, sir.
bullying. Have you? I'm pretty sure I know you've been working with youth for over 40 years. Where have you seen the difference in bullying? Because I know with the internet going on now, it's a different type of bullying going on as opposed we was coming up. It was more like take your lunch money, more physicality. But I was told nowadays with the social media, with the internet, it's more of a cyber bullying. Can you give us a distinction on the difference in how it's affecting the youth in your 40 years of working with the youth?
Yes, it's all of that. All of that. It's all of that. It's no distinction because
Okay.
our kids are like us. Different situations, different types of bullying, but it's all the same effect.
Mm-hmm.
Pain, pain. Like I say, it's like drowning, but you don't die. Look
Yeah.
at Khalif Browder. Here's a young brother. Jay-Z was his friend. They supported him. They gave him money, but he still put a rope around his neck and hung himself out his mother's window. His last words were,
Yeah.
"Mama, I can't take it no more.
Yeah, man.
I can't take it no more."
Yeah.
So this whole internal situation they dealing with, because this is the issue. Remember,
Hey, Brother Kemet, can you give us a
yes,
brief
sir.
synopsis
Sure.
on Keith Brother case, explain who he is, and because there's few people don't
Yes,
know,
sir.
my wife want to know who he is. Can you explain it, Keith? Keith, can you explain Keith Brother, the person that hung himself?
Yeah, Khalif Browder. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
they did a Netflix flick on him, right?
Yeah, Khalif Browder. Yeah, the young brother they put him in jail for actually they say he took a backpack
Yeah,
and
it was
then
yeah,
so he stayed in jail for 3 years with grown men in Rikers Island
in New York.
being abused for 3 years.
Yeah.
Never went to court for 3 years.
Mhm.
For 3 years. So it was kind of the same situation like the young brother Corey from you know the New York situation. You know that when you see us moving, that young
Okay,
brother.
yeah, I got you. I know
Yeah.
how
So
people
like
go.
the young brother said, you know, little Corey did.
Yeah.
So what we have to understand, put it in perspective like this: like when you send a young man to Vietnam, he come back, but he never come home.
Yeah.
See, you can come back, but he never come home. The same friends he used to sleep, freak that toe in the bed with and grew up with, they're strangers to him
Yeah.
because they haven't had a chance to witness and go through the struggle that he went through with some of the other comrades. Simple five. So at that point, they're not fighting for the government, but they're fighting for this group to come out alive. We've placed our kids in a situation now that really has become the new normal.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they move, pain is a little to the left, a little to the right, always close behind. So now some of them play that out and become hardened. No heart, no compassion.
Yeah.
Not understanding the hardest you'll ever be is your headstone.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's a weird phenomenon because in my generation, to save our children, those ancestors that's buried now in hollowed undergrounds will leap from their grave to face white hot muzzle flash to save our children.
Amazing.
And we've
Yeah.
lost that ability to carry that weight, which is unfortunate. Which is unfortunate. We let them separate us from our children, the most valuable asset and resource of any nation. Any nation. It's always the children that bear the burden of revolution. Elders are for counsel, the youth are for war. And some people say, well, you know, we ain't at war, you crazy. This is a battle for the black mind. And what we don't understand about war is not about wrong or right. War is about who survives. Who survives. And that's where we at.
Yeah.
Who survives. And if we don't make changes, I mean, let's be real. Show me a kid that can take care of themselves. Show me a baby that can take care of themselves.
Can't.
You can't.
You can't do it.
And we've let that responsibility go into the hands of teachers. And don't get it twisted. We're not talking about education. We created education. I mean, Dallas, Plato, Lion-ass Aristotle, Pythagoras. They know who taught them.
Yes.
They just went back to Greece and Rome and lied about it, but they know what it is. That's why I like Dr. Clark. Dr. Clark said, yeah, that sounds cute, but after you left the school over here and you went back to Rome and Europe, it was 30 years before you made a pair of shoes in a house with a window in it. Because we got to remember, what we see as racism today didn't come until the 13th century. Before that, the whole world knew who was it.
Hey, Baba, do you think when it comes to the bullying, I want to stay with that moment because you really touched on some good stuff here. Do you think when some people being bullied, and you said they can't go home and talk to their parents, they can't go and talk to whoever the case may be, and you know they got a whole bunch of internal pain going on, could that be a reason why some of them go leach out to certain brothers in the hood or gangs that really leech on something that has some protection, to have some type of, you know, comfort from that?
That's exactly it. In one respect, if you're in this community, it's not like we came up. If you had good parents, you didn't go that way too much. That's not the case no more. Because, like I say, the gates that turn to gates of the cemetery. Now the problem is, our parents are not even at home and together no more. So you find yourself in a situation, if you're a kid, listen to the words I'm going to tell you, Grass. The most powerful drug in the world is the promise of belonging.
Yeah.
They like everybody else. They're just trying to find where they can fit in. And they lost our we, so they can't go to us. They can't rely on tradition because we can't rely on tradition. After the fishnets, the first wave, man, they probably kept them chained a year or two before they could take them chains off, because this is going to be a problem. But remember this. They say if a lion sees a human being, when he first opens his eyes, he thinks he's a human being. So I'm gonna be honest. Let's take our situation. We here to keep it honest. We're trying to make a difference here. The Viking mother, kids getting ready to go off to war. She says, if you don't win, come back on the shield.
Oh, dang.
And we're gonna bury you with honor, and they're gonna talk about your name for 500 years. A mother telling our kid, just do what master say. I love you. I don't want nothing to happen to you. Just do what master say. Now, not only our kids, all our people is in a state of confusion about that one. So now they look at roots and think we coming from a position of being docile, which is far, far, far from reality. Because the reality is this. Harker.
Yeah.
But he said, I'm the Lord of the four quarters of the world. When this brother and Sundiata went to a place, fear got up and left out. When this brother was going to roll up on you, they like, please don't come in town. They go take all the gold riches and put them at the end of town and say, you can have everything. And if you want, I'll send my wife out there too.
Not the wife.
You feel me, fam? So we didn't come from no place of weakness. Let's take Hatshepsut. This is how she came to the throne, because it was supposed to be Tutmosis III.
Yeah.
But he was a baby. He was 17. Watch this. By the time he got 19, every military campaign, he never lost one. He was colder than Hannibal. He was so cold, they met him at a place called Megiddo. They said, yeah, they're going to try to sneak up through Megiddo. So Tutmosis said, oh, yeah, is that right? They said, when the young brother got through, this is how the end of the world going to look. He gave us Armageddon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't get it twisted. We wasn't Kunta Kinte. We wasn't Chicken George. We wasn't none of that. But remember, CRT ain't going to let you get none of that.
No, not.
And that's okay. Because like I say, we're the best teachers our children ever had.
Hey,
School's necessary for reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yeah.
But it don't tell you who you are. And they're not going to tell you who you are.
Yeah.
Because once you break the trance, game over.
Yep. Come on now, Baba.
You hear your niece. You hear your niece. She loving what you're saying. Your niece back there loving what you're saying, Uncle.
I'm loving her.
She loving what you're saying, though. Hey, let me ask you this, man, because you touching some jewels. We just dialoguing right now. Talking about Tutmosis III, and you talking about a lot of our historians and warriors and Taharka and everything. Like you said, we got a lot of our brothers in the streets that got that war mentality. What is their response? Because I know you there. That's one thing I love about you. You there with them. I do believe Muhammad taught us that in order to teach the people, you must first reach the people. So you're definitely there in the community, in the streets, reaching the people. How they respond to you when you teach them stuff about Taharka, Pianki, Tutmosis? What's the response to the brothers or the youth in our community? How are they accepting? Is some rebuttal or resistance, or how is it, Baba?
This how it is. I got people in my circle that was bona fide killers. Now they bona fide lovers of their people.
Yes.
I had one kid, I remember succinctly, we had the game, it's halftime. So
okay.
This particular day, he brings out, his son, which was his stepson. So team say, hey, you got your son with you? And he says, no, it's not my son, it's my girl's son.
Okay.
I look at the kid's face and the anguish this is bringing to him, right? So watch this. So at halftime, put him to the side. I said, hey, fam, check this out. I said, are you my son? He said, yeah, Pops, you my Pops. And that's your son. You're not a stepfather, you're the father that stepped in.
Come on.
After this conversation, the next time you see him, hey, my son, they roll like me and my son roll. Now, watch the effect. This is what your question is. Now, all of a sudden, this kid that was going to school finna get caught up, getting in all kind of trouble and everything. Now that he's accepted, grade shot up. He's a great athlete. My boy called me the other day, man, my son, man, it's his school, man, rocking it out. He gonna be a superstar. My son. That's the impact.
Yes.
That we want to have, that we must have, that we have to have. Because all you got to do is show him love. Me and my son coach a team and watch of these two individuals see each other on the streets, bloodshed. By the time we was finished, because that's what I know. Once you run together, sweat together, fight together, win together, lose together, you become one. So by the time this one season was over, They were going off to college together, gonna be roommates.
Mm.
But I'd have killed him 6 months ago. That's the impact we can have. Because like I say, all they ever needed was us, just us.
We need more people. We definitely need more people like you. And I definitely got to work with you. You know, my spiritual father, I guess an elder of yours, Baba KB, had the same story. He worked at a team post, as a matter of fact, and he had a assignment. It was something they were supposed to do together, and it was two rival gang members. They was like, you know, young, older teenagers or young adults. I don't recall the age, but they were supposed to do something together, like a project together. And one of the dude, Baba KB told me that one of the rivals said, "You put me in the room with that dude, I'll kill him straight up. You put me in the room with that dude, I'll straight up kill him." You know, and Baba KB had to really talk to him and gave him pretty much the same compassion, love, and respect that you're giving the youth. And when it came down to it, they both was able to lock arms. It was a basketball game, matter of fact. They was both able to lock arms. They was both able to really build with each other, and there was no quote unquote bloodshed. Now, you have definitely helped bring rivals together. You know, can you explain on how you were able to put some peace treaty together of certain gangs? I know you deal with not Jesse. They don't understand in the LA dynamics, you know. Now it's a little different, you know, you just beef who you beef with. But back in the day we first started getting into in the 80s, if it was a blood or crib, it was on site. I don't care if you was in Compton, you was in west side of LA. If you seen the enemy, y'all get down to it. Do all that. How were you able to really bring rivals, hardcore rivals together and make them, or help them, I should say, to become brothers, divine brothers? What tell us a story about that, Bob.
Once you engage them, and once they begin to trust you, and then you can help them understand simple things like there was no blood slave ship docking on the slave docks of Charleston. There was no Crip blood ship showing them up on the slave docks of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
This is friendly fire. You've been manipulated.
Yeah.
You've been manipulated. And once they begin to understand how they were manipulated, the techniques that was used to manipulate them and separate them from their oneness, it's just getting them back to mind. Mind means oneness.
Come on, Baba.
Being a part of the continuum. In African tradition, we didn't even make a loaf of bread without putting the last piece of bread in it for the continuum.
That's deep.
Once they understand they're the pride of a people and the hope of a nation, the blessings we sent up, they're the blessings that came down.
Yes.
And we have to make them step into their role as being a part of the continuum. Because like I say, the most powerful drug in the world is the promise of belonging. So what's more beautiful than belonging to your own?
The most beautiful. The epitome of beauty.
Period. And when you see this transformation start to be made, because see, there's no rocket science to this. It's just love.
Yeah. You're right about that. We make it too
It's
complex
love.
sometimes.
And being able to make the commitment to stay true, to stay in there, to don't fold on them, because everybody else has. Everybody else is folding on them.
You be there for them.
Once you make that commitment, and you know, it takes time. It don't come overnight. But once they lock into, I'm gonna say this straight up. I got kids in my circle that if they parents ask them to do something, I told them not to do it, they wouldn't do it. So it's a good thing my moral code is in order.
Oh,
because everybody's not.
You got my
eye, though. You understand this? It's a question of loyalty. Watch this. Remember we was talking about how when the kids came and everybody supported them?
Yeah.
Once you get to a certain age, guess who's up there? Nobody but their friends. So we never understand it as a question of loyalty. It's like, yeah, Mom, of course I knew that was wrong. But he had my back. Yep. I got his back. We'll deal with right and wrong at another time.
That's real talk. That's real talk.
So that's how they get caught up. Now watch this. This is why the gang lure is so powerful. I'm gonna give you love. And the first person that put their arms around your shoulders and say, I love you, little homie. I'll die for you. More important than that, I'll kill for you.
That's heavy.
Now here comes the brainwashing. That's where they learned that from. Nigga, chink, this, that, all their life. They learn it in subtle ways. You riding down the street in your car, somebody cut you off, that nigga, that spit, that you teaching them this nonsense. But once they feel neglected and unprotected at home, human nature says, I gotta find me some protection. My sacrifice might be I have to kill somebody for this family. Because Shauna know, she's been in group homes. The same phenomenon that happens in a group home, here's a bunch of what they call misfits, but they get together and they become family.
Yes.
Because they become a group that can depend on each other, that's gonna protect each other, that's gonna look out for each other. And that becomes everything to someone that never had it.
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And like we say, the only thing worse than living without a cause is dying without a cause.
That's deep.
This is why we can't come together as one nation and one tribe and one people. Bloods, Crips, Democrats, Republicans. We've joined every single cult in the world. We've hitched our wagon to every wagon in the world, except for the African one. And therein lies our freedom. Because before I free the body, I gotta free the mind.
Yeah.
And like I said, African blood with European sentiments. This is why they're not touching the curriculum.
You coming with it, Baba. You coming with it. Hey, family, if y'all want to get in this conversation, now is the time. You can start to process your questions, comments, or praise for Brother Kemet. Once again, if you want to see. Matter of fact, Brother Kemet, give a plug on how they can get in contact with you. We're going to do it again before the show is over. So give a plug of how they can get in contact with you.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to do something in conjunction. We're just not going to talk about it. Okay. The reality is this right here. Picasso always says this. He says, if you love your people, the best thing you can do is organize. Organize. Watch this. This is the net result of organizing. Everybody said, okay, we can't get our people together, man. They won't come together. We can't get no unity. You know why? Because you don't have a unifying cause. We can make the call right now. Let our children be the unifying cause. Let our children be the one thing that makes you get up and make a commitment back to them. In 1 year, we can change the whole game. And they won't feel rejected, abandoned. Listen to this. It's not just the teen post. It's not just the community center. That's our Black Pentagon. We've always had that place to get together and work our strategies. Back in the days, during slavery, they get up on a tree, it's called Hush Harbor, where they could go and speak honest. Then we made a transition to the church. The church is that space, all doing the civil rights movements. Now it's at Jay-Z's house.
Okay.
That part. So until we understand, we only have one role. We should be so relentless with every person that we come into contact with. I'm going to give you an opportunity to make a difference. I'm going to give you an opportunity to help save our children. And we done grew up now. So we over that nonsense about, well, who gonna count the money? See, European sentiments. And the reality is, put a council together, 5 or 6 people. If it's 6, 4 is the youth, an elder, and a community advisor. Because every community, you have that one person that everybody respects. Throughout America, you can find that person that everybody respects. So we're gonna have to do what works. And once we understand that, in the process of this, we're nation building. Then we don't have to wait till something happens and go fund tragedy. We can pro-fund hope. And listen, that's the beautiful thing about this. You don't have to do nothing. Oh, just pay your membership dues. My grandfather was an organizer for Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey amassed 6 million people with no internet, no telephone, no social media, no Twitter, no email, none of that. 6 million people. You know how Garvey took over Harlem? See, Garvey didn't open up all these businesses in Harlem. Garvey had the bank. So, Mr. Garvey, I can cut hair. I want to open up a barbershop. Here you go.
Dang.
I can run a printing press. Here you go. It's how you take a community over. You build a bank. Now, the beautiful thing about organizing is you're not beholding. This ain't no 501c. Well, I'm all in your business. We're trying to do good over here. We don't need no daddy. We don't need no mama. We're grown. So it's time for us to get that grown-up look back in the eye and save our children. Quit pussyfooting around with it. So we should be relentless with every person that we encounter. You mean to tell me $10 or $20 is more important to you than saving our children? This card that you carry around says I'm making a difference. And it's a privilege and an honor to have this card. That part. That's what we got to be at. That's what we got to be with it. Now, this is the beautiful thing about that. Watch this. Now that we got this building and we own it, now let's engage them. Because before anything else, we have to build a foundation. Today, we foundation building. Before we build anything on this lot, we got to build a foundation.
Yes, sir.
Now, once this building is constructed, what goes on inside here? Now we can really CRT. We can really teach them history, tradition, with love, dignity, respect. In this system, we have sports programs. We have boots, because all of them want to be a rapper. Every kid in my circle right now wanted to be a rapper until now. Now they want to be Malcolm. So we got to meet them where they at.
Yeah, that's true.
We got to meet them where they at. And now we got, and this the biggest psychological part of this. That building belonged to them. When the last time we did something for them? There you go.
Do you have anything in the process? So what are some, what do we need to do? Like, give us what do you want?
Okay.
Call to action. What would you like?
This is the call to action. From this day forward, it's this simple. You have membership cards made up. You offer them an opportunity to make a difference. And this is the key. We're not doing tribalism. I don't care if you're a Christian, Muslim, Moor. Save our children. Save our children. One thing at a time. First, we have to heal them without scars. Then we can move on to a different kind of maintenance with them. But first things first, get them out of danger, get them out of harm's way. That's why I love a king. Me and the king probably sent 7 to 8 kids to a whole nother state to get out of harm's way because they made the move to put the gangster kid down, and that could be very dangerous. That's why they are my heroes. That's why they are my heroes. That's a bold decision. Because you know what they say, blood in, blood out. Mm-hmm. So we have to be able to, problem is we can't do what everyone else does. I'm gonna talk to you and send you right back into hell. This is about choices. This is about giving them different avenues for success. This is about helping them go from a dead mind to standing perpendicular. This is about saving heart, mind, and soul. This is about sheer survival in a different way than they're dealing with now. Mm. And we can do that. Because remember, all they ever needed was us, just us. You ain't got to be Wakanda. You ain't got to be none of that. All you got to do is care.
All right. Well, I'm definitely gonna let the people on the call know, and people who might be purchasing this recording know about this as well. And you'll get this recording as well, so that way we can get that going and in motion. Family, friends, guests, do y'all have anybody have any questions they want to give or say to our great guests? Anybody would like to chime in? You can raise your hand, Zoom style, or you can just unmute your mics and get into the conversation. Yes, go ahead, Brother Byron. I seen that you unmute your mic. You're on.
Yeah, just briefly, I wanted to talk about the whole question about how we are at war. Our kids don't realize that this war is being perpetrated against every Black woman, Black man, woman, child in America. And we have to understand that even though they're born into this war, they have a role and a purpose, either to participate in this manipulation that you talked about and this coercion, or either they can fight for their own survival and their own freedom. But I want Brother Kemet to elaborate is, on that, right? How can we begin to explain to them, our Black children, our youth, our future, that they have a role and a purpose, and want that not just to exist, not just to become a rapper, not just to become, a teacher, a doctor, but become useful in building a Black nation. So can Brother Kemet elaborate a little bit on that?
How you doing, family? Yes, sir. This is the reality of that. The elders taught us this. What our youth have to understand is they didn't get here by the way they part their hair. It's some people that made some sacrifices for them to be here. Mm-hmm. And they have an obligation to those that sacrifice so much for them to just be here. Yeah. See, a lot of them think they're in heaven, but they're not. They're still here. They're right here. And what they have to understand is everybody in that cemetery is dead. So the reality is the only thing worse than living without a cause is dying with a cause, because everybody's going to perish. But what are they going to say about you after you perish? So if you're foolish enough to think you're going to live forever, you'll roam this earth like a fool. But once you understand two things, and this is what the youth going to have to understand. If money is your thing, they can buy you off. If you have fear of dying, they can scare you off. So for all of us, this all ends. This is temporary. So my message to the youth is this: save yourself. I empower them to do just that. Save yourself. I got organizations and groups of kids out there now putting work in to save themselves. We ain't gonna cry about the elders didn't come, the men didn't come, because like I say, it's a difference between being an elder and an older.
Yeah.
So the reality is they're smarter than you could ever imagine. But we have to release that boundless ambition. See, we had a cosmic connection. Our people were so astute, they knew when to have processions, when the people would be at their calmest. But getting them back to tradition is getting them back to their right mind. So right now, it's kind of like, I know sometimes you talk to brothers, you feel like, man, you have an out-of-body experience. When you get back to you, get back to me. And the reality is, you know, we have to kind of have a certain type of compassion. This is my thing on that. I feel you, I feel your pain, but I got work to do. Like you over there trying to figure it out. So we better get that grown-up look back in our eyes, and that'll transfer it to the children. Because what they need is someone to be honest to them. Then we can help them get back to traditions. Listen to this. Back in the days, man, this is how powerful this is. You know why we had rites of passage, 12, 13 years old? You know what that was about? Same thing why Jews have bar mitzvah. At 14, I'm gonna tell you, you can't wear those little caps no more because you're a man now. So by the time they get 18, 19, they've been a man 5 or 6 years. Our kids, because it's to their benefit to keep them dumbed down, they still trying to figure out, is it PlayStation or basketball?
Oh, I got you.
Now, rites of passage back in our times was in tradition, you go in this hut, you're gonna get philosophy from this elder. You go in this hut, you might get martial arts from this elder. The point is, by the time you go in everybody's hut, by the time you get back to the village, now you got your own hut because you're a man now. So it wasn't no baby boy syndrome. But everybody understood there was a part of the collective. Everybody can eat out the bowl with clean hands. And nobody will destroy their we. They destroyed our we. And we can't even see each other no more. So now we're talking to holograms. And that's the issue. First of all, before we can make corrections, we have to make a connection. Once they feel safe in that space, they'll open up. Trust comes first. And loyalty comes second.
Trust
and that's
comes
what
first.
gotta be with them.
Trust comes first and loyalty comes second. I love the way.
And we have to give them an opportunity to buy into that. Some it might take a week, some it might take a month, some it might take a year, but so what? It has to be done.
Yeah.
And I ain't going nowhere.
Oh, we know. You in it for the long haul. Make no mistake about it. You in it for the long haul, and the loyalty is A1. Thank you for that. Thank you for your question, Brother Byron. Does anyone else have a question for our esteemed guest today, Brother Kemet? You could type it in or just unmute your phone and get in this conversation because he's definitely breaking some jewels down. Make no mistake about it. We got about 25 more minutes before the show is adjourned. All right. Before they people want to get into their questions. Let me go on and let's continue on. We talked about Mukasa Ricks, as he says one of the most important things we do for the people is organizing people. And I want to ask you if you can give us some, I don't know, some steps. Let me see this organizing and discipline. I think is what a lot of our youth.
I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked that. Let me give you a little background on my brother Mukasa Ricks.
The great Mukasa Ricks.
Yeah,
yes.
Here's a brother, man, that they was doing a protest, cracked his head, took him to the doctor, and the doctor shot him 5 times.
Yeah.
And he's still a revolutionary. Here's a brother that was so committed. And this is what we're talking about. This is your question. We're talking about commitment. Commitment. He's still a revolutionary. I remember one time when him and Stokely was in jail down in Jackson, Mississippi. So the bailiff came, he said, hey, Sheriff, we're going to let them go. The sheriff's like, what you mean let them go? If we don't let them go, every cotton pick in the county gonna be a revolutionary. That part. They had so much conviction, they used to put on overalls, go stand next to a brother picking cotton with, talk about revolution.
Overalls, okay.
His relationship with Martin Luther King was like this. There's 2 people in the whole world that Martin wanted to fight physically, Mukasa and Andrew Young. He wanted to fight Andrew Young because he thought he was a sellout. He wanted to fight Mukasa because he was bold. So what people don't understand is when Snick first got there, they didn't have an office or a pistol or piece of paper. Snick provided that for him. So the reality on Martin was this. Martin was a mobilizer. When Martin came, you know how they do today? Oh man, after the game, come party with Chris Paul or Kobe Bryant. They come in the club, they sit out 5 minutes in the VIP section and hit the back door. And you go home like, I partied all night with Kobe and Chris Paul. Watch this. After Martin left, the real work started. That's when Stokely and Mukasa and them would organize.
Yeah.
Martin would bring the people here. And I'm gonna show you something. Don't get it twisted, man. Not only did Martin love him, but they wore the same clothes. Martin used to have to take Mukasa with him every week. Now you coming with me, Rich? I can't leave you. I can't leave you by yourself. You might turn the place out. So what happened was when Martin was inside preaching, Mukasa was outside stacking bricks in case it went the other way. So it's funny when Martin wanted to get up there on these stairs, they wouldn't let him. It was like, hey, Rich, we need to get up there on them steps. And guess what? They got up there on them steps. So that was their relationship. It was kind of based in that. But the core was they were so committed. They were so committed to the organizing of the people. They loved the people so much. And we got to do that and more on steroids. Save our children.
Mukasa Ricks, give us a little more background because you left out something that's very important as it relates historically about Mukasa Ricks. When they was walking doing the voters registration march, Stanley Carmichael's walking, and he was walking, he's doing his thing, and whenever they get to a certain area, like you said, to mobilize and all that stuff, they would give a speech, and they would help the audience continue their confidence, continue to weather through, to continue to go to the white militias and everything. And one time, when Stanley Carmichael, African name Kwame Ture, peace be upon him, when he was walking, Mukasa Ricks was talking to him like, hey, you know what? You should say Black Power, Black Power.
Let me tell you how that came about.
Yeah.
Like they had got to a point where this is when Snick and SCLC were wanting to start to make the split.
Yeah.
Their attitude was, okay, we're not gonna hit on that no more. We're just gonna hit on Black Power, Black Power. So even Martin said Mukasa Ricks was the best orator that Snick ever produced. So his role was to go out into the city, into the little town, into the county first, and fire the people up. That was his role. That's why he was the first one to say Black Power. So now, once they got close to the rally, he would tell Stokely, okay, I got him ready, I got him primed. So hit him with it now. Hit him with Black Power. So Stokely get up there, he do his thing. You see it in no eyes on the prize. Stokely like, hey,
We need Black Power. Yeah.
yeah. So that was our Mikasa.
Yeah, he coined that phrase. And I was told, you know
Mikasa.
Obuti Shaka? You know Obuti Shaka?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Dr. Obuti Shaka came on our show and he told me that he said that Mukasevich heard that speech from Adam Clayton Powell when he came back from Africa, that he gave a speech on audacious Black Power at Howard University, and Mukasevich was there, and he came back and told what you just said. So they called Michael, we need him with Black Power. So, I guess we got to give it to Adam Clayton Powell too, though. He got a lot to do with it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And not only that, even deeper than that, like the elders say, there ain't nothing new under the sun. You know what I'm saying? So that part. So we gonna give credit to all of them.
Yeah.
That's why we revere our ancestors the way we do. And this is one of the most important things that we passing on to the youth, because they lost that connection. Because like I say, if you don't have a connection to your ancestors, you lost. You're completely lost in a sea of ignorance. Because what we understand and what we know is this, like dammed water. Anything cut out from the source stagnates and dies.
That's real.
So that's the thing. So this is why we do libation. This is why we bring the elders into the room. We've had hundreds of outings. Where do we start? With libations. And that's the key. Now we're going to reconnect you with the 4,000 people that made it possible for just you by yourself to be here. And every family takes about 4,000 people for you to get here today. And they're all tied to that link in the change. So that's the importance of, but now what happened as that been severed after the fish nets, like Malcolm said, we didn't know exactly where we came from, so we're gonna take the whole of Africa.
Yeah.
That part.
Yes, indeed.
That part. So it's all about connections and tradition, and that's why our kids don't have no more. There was a show, remember The Wire, and so the young brother says to his uncle, he said, man, he said, you got all this money. Why you stay in this house? I said, look, young buck, this house right here, your grandfather built with his hands when they didn't let us even live over here. Y'all don't understand tradition. We don't understand tradition. So it's our responsibility to replace that in their mind. Because like I say, we have to heal them with our scars. We have to heal them with our scars. And once you know self, you're not fit to be a slave. Once you understand your part and how you connected to this, you're not fit to be a slave. Once you reconnect to the love, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. So the message is, at the end of the day, what I give them is love. The one thing that they're not getting, that they starve for, that they kill for with the game, that they rob for with the criminal, it's love. The most powerful drug in the world is the promise of belonging.
Dang. If they can have a juggernaut like you around, they can belong to something special. Yeah,
but you just like me. I'm not special. The reality is, it's just that special is making a commitment. Making a commitment. I remember one time, Mama C, Charlotte O'Neill, Panther, Africa, they had to go and exile her and Pete when she was 18. When they first got to Africa, they was running out the jungle with machetes out. You know what I'm saying? So The reality is this. She said these words. She said, when I was in the party, I loved the people so much. We used to show out volunteering. We used to see who could volunteer the most. Roland Freeman said, when I was in the Black Panther Party, I don't care if I had to mop the floor, wipe the walls down, do the dishes, because I love the people this much. We better bring some of that passion back. We better bring some of that passion back. And it's steroids.
Man, that's what I've been doing. I don't get out of my business and everything, but you know about the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, and these youngsters, I have their minds, man. I'm telling them about a Prentice Bunchy Carter, because a lot of cats from LA and everything, telling about Prentice Bunchy Carter. I'm telling about Craig Munson. I'm telling about Kumasi and the Slawsons and all that stuff, all the way down to George Jackson. They're like, how do you know all this stuff? You know what I mean? I said, I sat at the feet of my Jegners and my elders. And the thing is, though, this is the thing, though. They heard about the Panthers, and I'm not saying I'm a Panther expert. I'm not on the level of you or Harold Wealth, nothing like that, but I know enough than more they knew to where I was able to prick their level of consciousness, and I was schooling them on 41st and Central. And they was very intrigued by, like, what? 41st and Central, they had cast down like that? Absolutely. But I also taught them about the dynamics of Huey P. Newton, how he got a degree. You see the connection I'm talking about, how he got a degree, went to college, got a degree. I told him about a dude named George Jackson, you know, because some of the cats been to that place, you know, and they heard of him, but they don't know that much about him. And I told him how he was a prolific thinker, writer. He also can hit that iron. He was a buff dude. So I told him about the spiritual component. And do you know, because I go do my prayer and my libation. Do you know a couple of youngsters, when they come with me, I'm teaching them how to do libation now. Teach them how to do libation. Teaching them, one cat want to get out and put his business out there, but he want to get out the alcohol. You know what I mean? And some of you guys may know, back in the day, I was an alcoholic back in the day, you know? So I've told them how I got clean and how I stay dry. And they want to know about how they can stay clean, stay dry. Because, like going back to what you said, the connection, I showed that I cared about them. And I also gave them some knowledge. So it wasn't just a whole bunch of intellectualizing. I let them know that I care and that we could have a buddy system. So I definitely feel you on that. When we can use our heroes. I'm talking about like George Jackson, Huey P. Newton, Bunchy Carter, and then I schooled them on people like Kumasi, Roland Freeman, Ronald Freeman. They never heard. One dude did. He seen Made in America, so he knew, oh, that dude you talking about, Kumasi, yes. And now I have their attention now. You dig? But I let them know that I definitely care. So we can do this, man, with the commitment and everything. We just can't be like you said.
It's not that we can do this.
Giving a whole bunch of lip service and a whole bunch of rhetoric. We gotta have the application and the commitment and loyalty behind what we're saying. Put some real behind those words we used to say back in the day.
It's not that we can do this. It's that we don't have no choice but to do this.
Come on.
you heard
no
why?
You know what I'm saying? This is not optional. This is mandatory. And the thing is, we have to understand, like, our kids are autodidactic. It's not what you say to them. It's what they see. It's those examples. You know, it's what they see.
Yeah.
And the reality on that is, you know, hey, this is it, and this is all. Principles are permanent. Once they get instilled with a certain type of principle and a certain type of love, and I know now this person cares about me, it's game over. Game over.
Hey, your niece want to chime in. She want to ask a question.
I was just gonna
make a statement.
Add on from my own personal experience when it comes to dealing with young people. A lot of people I've met, a lot of other people will say, "Oh, well, they don't want to know." Every time I teach a young person knowledge about themselves, I don't care if it's about what an atom is. They want to know. And I always tell people, I remember when I first started teaching Kemetic science and African spiritual science, I used to kidnap brothers from the liquor store. Literally kidnap them. Me and my cute cousin would kidnap them. They would be trying to flirt. Yeah, come on, get in the car. We'd bring them to the house. She had a beautiful big garage. Put on Asher Quasey. We put on metaphysics. They never once got up and said, "Y'all crazy. I don't want to hear this." I remember one brother, we were sun gazing, and it was before 2007,
and we were outside sun gazing, and like I said, he's a young brother from the hood, gang member. And he looked over at me. He said, "It's gonna be about 5 years before I'm able to do that." And it literally lined up with 2012. And I just thought it was just so deep, And I told Grasshopper all the time, I've never dealt with resistance. I don't deal with that. I've never dealt with a black person who didn't want to know what more about being black. That idea that they don't want to know who they are and their story. Yes, they do. As soon as I can sit on a bus stop with somebody, and in 20 minutes they are engulfed in the conversation. They want to know more about who they are, their origin, how this came about, what's the root of the way the system is working. A lot of times we think that we can't find out how life works, that it's some big mystery, and it's not, right? It's just hidden. A lot of information is hidden from people. So I wanted to say, like, I've never experienced a young person who just did not want to hear anything about themselves. I've always, as soon as I bring up them to them, they want to know more about them. They don't want to hear about all the other stuff, but they do want to know about themselves, right? So I think it's important that we're not afraid to, like he said, everybody you see. I don't ever underestimate nobody. I don't care if they're a gang member. I don't care what. I know inside of them, they understand exactly what I'm saying because I'm talking spirit to spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And they understand me just fine.
Looking at the soul. That goes back to that relentlessness you talked about, brother Kemet. And you want to piggyback or give her some feedback on what she just expounded on?
It's funny, Kashana. See, they're starving. It's like somebody that haven't ate in a month.
Yeah.
But what we have to understand, we have to get through a lot of layers of nonsense that they had to deal with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So once we peel away the layers and we can get to the soul, because we're dealing with the soul. And once you able to tap into that, now you can teach.
Yep.
Now all of this rare air stuff we can impart in them.
Mm-hmm.
But we've laid that foundation. It's what we're doing now. We're laying a foundation to build on. I'm gonna say this. This conversation we having now is gonna lead to a team post. It's gonna lead to a community center, and we're gonna change the game. And this is what the elders taught us about that. So the way you do it is, like, remember I took you to Professor Grant Grasshoppa in the back when you go in this place, he got this big old map on the wall. Guess how we use that map? We will go over to that map and draw a big circle. Now we're gonna engage the community within the circle. Then we'll move on over here. We'll move on over here till the job is done. But now, the tool we use it right here to speak to each other on, once we build, listen to this, once we build the community center, it's like a STEM center.
Okay.
But the difference is we own it.
Right.
You know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I got you.
We own it. Because let's be real. Look at the adults. You've been told 1,000 times. It's 45 million of us. If we don't get caught up in tribalism, and we don't give a shit if it's a Democrat or Republican, and we say, hey, you want these 45 million votes? What you gonna do for us? Now we wielding power, because we know for a fact, if you don't buy Tide today, tomorrow they're gonna be at your feet begging you to buy Tide. So the reality is we have to show them by example, first, that we care. Do you understand the significance of having a building that they know deep in their soul, this is for us? Now within that structure, you know what we do, Grasshopper? We bring speakers in, we bring jugglers in, we bring people in that can help restore your soul. Then we have to suffer regret. Because I can guarantee you now, in the bottom of the Atlantic, in the bottom of the Indian Ocean, where it's bones spread across the ocean floor, bleach white with time. The ocean is 10 feet high with the tears of our ancestors because we let them conquer our way. We don't know what family mean no more. We don't know what community mean no more. We don't know what love mean no more. And our kids seeing all these selfish traits, and then we turn around and blame them. It's insane. Like I say, it's like the root telling the branch about the fruit it produces. People talking about, you know, what's wrong with this generation? You raised them. And what I mean about that is, remember what we said? One line in Rick Ross' song, in 24 hours, 100,000 petitions were signed. They couldn't wait to Reebok over the next door and say, hey, no, we ain't gonna tolerate that. Now you can talk about selling drugs and killing blacks, that's okay. Because the last time I checked, Tupac sold 5 million when he was alive and 25 million when he dead. Like Chuck D said, you mean to tell me if you're gonna get this fool a contract, you don't have no obligation to give him some life skills to go with it? And you know why? They understand this. I got so much insurance, so homie, it's gonna be better for the game if something do happen to him.
Yeah.
There's people, listen to this. One executive went to a meeting. So they go to this meeting, they put all these papers in front of him, non-disclosure, everybody got to sign this. Before we even have a conversation, everybody, so one brother said, nah, I don't know if I just want to sign something out the blind, so he got up and walked out. But the other brother's curiosity got him, so he want to stay here and see what's up. So after the brother left and didn't sign it, everybody signed it, they locked the door. These music executives, but we got all these other suits over here, like, why they here? Who are these people? They control the prison industrial complex. Brothers like, well, what that got to do with what we doing over here in the music? Everything. We're going to build these prisons and you're going to keep them full. We better be about the business of showing our kids how to keep the cheat off. And that's the reality. That's the reality. We got people over at Wall Street, Hollywood, hair shrinkers, manipulated emotions, manufactured fears, and we saying, oh, be stronger than that. You ain't even stronger than that. How you gonna tell these kids to be stronger than that? Look at you. I can send you to a Tyler Perry movie right now and you crying like a little girl. And know this actor gonna be in another movie. That's how it impacted you. The same way the music impact them. We better teach them another song about liberation and revolution.
And love of your people.
That's it.
Love of your people.
And
all right, then.
The problem with that, before we get out of here,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The problem with that is this. Unfortunately, we can't teach them to love someone else until we put the work in to teach them to love themselves. That's the challenge. That's the goal. That's why we do what we do. And it ain't a DNA thing, it's a love thing. And we have to be relentless with it, unforgiving to the core. Because it has to be that important to us. And if it's not, you're an enemy to the state.
That is deep, though. Well, you dropping big bombs, but it's real. It's real things we need to hear, knowledge we need to hear. And now we got to go out and apply it. You know, Jay Valentina says, let's just read the chat box right now. It's hard to not ask yourself, who am I? That's going back to being getting the people that have a thorough knowledge of themselves. So when it shows up, people are intrigued. So like as you said, the contingency of knowing thyself, who are you, and being an example of love and all. She also says self-love is key as well. Being an example of love and all those things we're advocating as it relates to really instilling the children. Because I continue to reiterate, the youth may be 65% of our population, but they 100% of the future. All right, Brother Kemet, Baba Kemet, give us your closing remarks before we adjourn, my brother. And thank
All
you
right,
again for coming on. Thank you
oh
again for
man,
coming
you
on.
know, it's all love, man.
Really a great
Uh,
show. We're gonna have you come back on too, though,
anytime,
man.
fam.
We'll have you
Anytime.
come back on too, though.
Yeah, anytime, fam. You know, I'm always available for you, and that's never gonna change. So I just want to leave us with this: the new normal. Our kids are able to feel. Their feelings are numb, and to numb those feelings, they numb virtually all other feelings as well.
Yeah.
No longer feeling nothing for your brothers or sisters, becoming so hard that their only companion is pain. Always standing a little to the left, a little to the right, and always close behind. Living in a mental minefield. Relief only comes when stopped by dust. So the question becomes, who are you? If we don't save them, who will? Our neglect is placing our children in danger. Sometimes I think the blood of our ancestors has run from our veins. If our ancestors had mouth for the love of our children and the unborn, they would stand and fight instead of running away and deserting our children, even if it meant facing white hot muzzle blasts from guns. But now their voice is silent. They cannot speak from their headstones buried in these hallowed home of honor. Even while hugging the ground, they would leap up and attack the enemy of our children, because we can't allow this pain to become the new normal.
Oh my God.
That's beautiful. That's
Very powerful.
that's beautiful, powerful, and very inspiring as well. So, family, friends.
I love y'all, beloved, and we ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. You know, and like Sister B. Richard said, even after I die, sprinkle my ashes in the Confederate cemetery so I can fight on after death. Ashe.
Ashe. Family, this is a wonderful, wonderful show. I mean, it's A1 show.
Oh, we're gonna do it again. You know what we do? We're gonna do it again. We ain't done.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a great show that I ain't did a show in a while. I'm happy I was able to start with you because you definitely took it to the next level and I appreciate it. So now I got some things I'm definitely going to do to add on to what I'm doing as it relates to really instilling and helping and being a catalyst to help the youth reach their highest and greatest self-love potential self. So family, friends, distinguished guests, once again, if you want to see your donations, you can to my Cash App, $ Pianki, Pianky, or $ Koshana, my wife. $ Koshana, and we're gonna be one more time. Okay, and we also have a show on Sunday. Global After Awakening Online Cycle Spiritual Sundays. My wife will be speaking this Sunday, so I'll see you guys a link this Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in the morning. She's gonna have some good stuff for you guys, and I'm gonna be back next Thursday. I don't know who's gonna be the guest, but next Thursday I'm gonna be back with another provocative and progressive show. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being a part of this program, and we will see you guys when we see you guys. Y'all have a good one. Stay humble. Let your light shine. Peace be unto you. We out. Hey, Brother Kemet, stay on. Stay on for a minute. Stay on, Brother Kemet.
Yes, sir.
I'll put other people in the waiting room. Hold on. All right, everybody's in the waiting room. All right, yeah, wonderful show, Brother Kemet. Thank you for being a part.
It's all love, fam, and you know, man, be safe, be well, beloveds.
Yeah. Hey, text me your email so I can see you once the recording is available. I'll send to you your email probably tomorrow morning. I'll send it to you, and you can look at it and do what you want to do with it. And thank you for being a part of it. Get regards to Dominique and all the family, and tell them.
Sure will, fam.
Hey, was Akeem
love
on?
You guys.
Hey, yo, was Akeem on? Was that him?
Yeah, that was Byron.
Byron, I know it sound familiar. That was Akeem.
Yeah, this here right here. Hey, Akeem, Grasshoppa, like, wasn't that Akeem? Because you know, you was on your computer, you know, it comes up Byron.
Yeah, like wasn't that Akeem? Yeah, like that was Akeem. It sound like him, you know what I mean? But he was doing his thing. But all right, then.
No doubt. No doubt.
Give him the regards.
He's shooting his regards to you. Yeah. Oh, hold 1 second. All right, family. I love you guys, man. We're gonna do this again. You know, we ain't done.
All right, now, brother, we gotta come out there and visit you as well, though. Too. You still in
No
Hollywood,
doubt,
right?
no doubt. Let's break bread soon.
All right, now, brother. Have a good
I
one.
love you, fam.
Love you as well. Shimotel.
Hug the girls.
All right, now. Peace.